Okay, so assuming that you have your backend up and running and everything is configured and you have created this user controller that does a post mapping to our class over here. Okay, so let me just delete this first. Okay, so uh, yeah. So assuming you have this, okay, and everything is configured correctly. So what we want to do is that we want to connect our API to our front end application, okay, running on React, okay. So what we need to do is make sure you are running your front end. Make sure you go ahead and um, start your front end, import it, okay, by saying npm start. Make sure your front end is up and running, okay. Mine is up and running, as you can see. So I have been able to install front end inside my system, okay. So the first thing that you need to do is create a file. I have done it, I've done everything. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and explain step by step. So we want to connect this API over here to our front end application, okay, running on React. So the first thing we're gonna do is that navigate into SRC. Okay, so we're gonna have this here. So navigate inside front end, then inside front end, navigate inside the SRC. So SRC is where we have our file applications over here. So the first application that you need to create is client.js. So create a file, new, and then create a file and name this file client.js. So inside client.js, I have this application. I have this information here. Actually, it's this client.js. No, this one here, client.js. Okay. So I have this information here. So we're gonna start with the first information that is up here. So I have configured everything, but I'm gonna go ahead and explain so that you can be able to know what this file does. Okay. Now this file, first we have an import statement that brings in a function called fetch, okay, from the library called unfetch. Okay, so this function help us make requests to the server. Okay, next we define the function. Okay, we define the function called check status. So we are defining this function called check status. This function takes in response as input. Okay, it takes in response as input. It checks if the response is successful, meaning the server responded without any error. Okay, checks to see if the server responded without any error. That's why we're saying it checks if the response is successful. Now, if the response is successful, it simply returns a response itself. Okay, it returns a response itself. So it's check if the response is successful. If it's successful, it returns a response. Okay, okay, itself. So if the response is not successful, meaning that there is an error, the function creates a new error. Okay, so it's going to create a new error object and sets the error message to be the status text of the response, as you can see here. Okay, then after that, it then attaches the response to the error object and rejects a promise with the error object. Okay, so it rejects a promise with the error object. Okay, then this means that if the error is an error, okay, I mean, this means that if there is an error, the function will not give us the error message. Okay, so After the check status function, we have down here, we have the function called create user. Okay. So this function takes a user object as input. Okay. User object as input. Inside the function, we use fetch, okay, function we imported earlier to send the post request to a special URL, which is this one here. And this special URL is the one inside our API over here, this one here. Okay, so basically what happens here is that after the check status function, we have a function called create user. Let's go back here. So we have a function called create user, which is this one here. This function takes a user object as input. Okay, and then inside the function we use the fetch function we imported earlier. Okay, here we imported it up here. Okay, so we're using the fetch function that we imported earlier to send a post. Okay, so we are sending a post request to this URL over here. Okay, on the server side. So we also provide some headers. Okay, over here we also provide some headers, and headers is information about the request, including the content type as JSON. It's as JSON over here. Okay, including the content type as JSON and the method as post. So this is the method here. We also include the user object as the body of the request. Okay, body of the request. Okay, uh, which means we are sending the user information to the server. Okay. Finally, we use the then method over here, and on the fetch request to change the check status function to it. This means that after the request is made, the check status function will be called with the response. If the response is successful, it will be returned. If there is an error, it will be rejected and we will get an error. Okay, that's what is happening here. So basically, in simple terms, this is a code. This code over here fetch data from the server. It sends the user object to the server to create a new user, and it checks if the request was successful, okay, or if there was an error. If there is an error, it tells us what went wrong, okay. Then this is what's happening inside here, the client.js. Then our next file here is gonna be what we call notification. Okay, so here we create some few notifications. So we have a success notification. If you send information inside our database, we're gonna see a pop out information saying that the information was successful. So we also have error notification if there was an error. Okay, and also we have if not notification, or also we have warning notification. So I created a folder called notification.js. Okay, and then I wrote this code here just to handle notification. Then after that, um, let's go to app.js. So app.js is where I created a form. This form here, okay, what it does is that it has an email where a person needs to input the email and also the password here. So it's going to be email and password, okay? Then you can click this button here to log in, okay? And once you click on login, it's going to submit the information inside our database, okay? And this function is here, okay, where we have on finish, uh, on finish, we set submit as true, okay, and then we create a user over here, okay. Then the console logs and says user added, and the success notification from this folder here comes in. So the success notification says that let me open. Success notification says that the user has been added successfully. Okay. Then after that, if there is an error, when submitting the information, it's going to catch an error, and then it's going to say error notification. You'll get this notification side that saying that there was an error that was created and there was an issue here. So what we do is that we're going to create this notification.js. Then after that, inside our app.js, we're going to import error notification and success notification from this notification over here, this file over here that we have created. Then after that, we need also to style this form here. We have to style it up, okay? And for us to be able to style this form here, we need to create another file called loginform.css, okay? So this here contains the CSS file that is used to like style our form. As you can see, these are CSS code, okay? I'm going to provide all this code, okay, if need be. So if you want all this code, actually, just let me know, and then I'm gonna create a GitHub where I'm gonna post all these codes that you need, okay? And then you can try it for yourself. Then after that, go back to app.js, and then we will import this login form.css inside our application. We actually don't need this one, so I'm gonna take this one out. Okay, this one here, this CSS here was the one that once you install your front end, this is the one that is running. This CSS is used to run your front end application once you install it, but we don't need it because we are doing lots of changes over here. Okay, then we also import more information from anti-D. Okay, and this one will just format our form file over here. So basically what you need to do here, you need to create this client.js over here. And this one, as I have written some comments here, this is the method that will get all the user students from the backend. This one here, okay? And then over here, two, this method will check if to see if the response was successful, this one here, and also if the response was successful, it will return a response. Okay, so this is what happens over here. So what you're gonna do, you have to create this file here, okay, and also create this one here to connect to our API over here, okay? Then after that, create some CSS file, okay, for our application, for our form here, just to format our form so that it can look good. Then after that, we also have login logging no 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 notification, so to be able to get some notification if the success was successful, if there was an error, if not notification, okay, and also warning notification, okay. So I'm going to provide these codes. If you text me and if you need this code, I'm just going to post them inside the GitHub, okay. Then after that, down here, because we need to connect our application to our back end. So what we're gonna do here is that if we scroll down, let's go back to back package.js. So we need to create a proxy. So our backend system is running on HTTP localhost 8080. So I want you to write this inside package.json. I want you to go ahead and write proxy, okay, and then type this one here. Just put a comma down here and type this one. This will help us connect our application, send information from front end to back end. Okay, good. Then after that, I think you also need to go ahead and install. Let me see. So you also need to go ahead and install. Um, let me see if we have this. So you need to go ahead and install this here. Okay, npm install this here. Okay, and fetch. Make sure you go ahead and install this one here. So click on enter. So once you install this one, if you go back to your package.json, you're gonna find it here. So this version is the one that I installed here. So make sure you install this one. Then let me see what else you need to install. Okay, some anti-D. Okay, as you can see inside our package.json, we have this anti-D here. We are using anti-D because we are getting some forms from anti-D library. Okay, great. Then after that, what I'm gonna do is that I will go ahead and say then I'm gonna start my application and see if I can be able to send some data inside our database through the front end. So let's go ahead and install and fetch. So give it some time to install and fetch. Then after that, we're gonna go ahead and install and fetch, I think here. Then after that, we're gonna go ahead and say npm start, and then it's gonna start our application. Yep, that's it. So our application is running at localhost 3000. So that's our front end application. So I'm gonna try and send some data inside. I'm gonna add my email. So actually, what I told you earlier on, you have to make sure that go back to package.json. You have to make sure that we have this configured, as I told you earlier. So proxy, and then we have it's supposed to be localhost 8080, so it's gonna be localhost 8080, http localhost 8080. Because this one is very important if you want to communicate with the back end. Okay, and our back end is running at 8080, so two ports running differently. So start your back end application. Okay, then after that, go back to your front end application and cancel, control C, and then start npm so that it can take the changes. Then run localhost 3000. So great. So let me put it like, let me create two windows like that too, so that if I send some information, you'll be able to see logs taking place inside our backend. So you're gonna see some logs being created over here. So let me add my email and my password, and then I'm gonna click on login, successful message, and you can see some logs over here, and then you see there's a user added successfully, the successful message that appears through the notification. So there you have it. Then after that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our terminal, and I want us to type connect to your DB. Go back to your DB and then connect /c to DB, which was Facebook. And then after that, I want you to write select star from Facebook
box, okay, and then you will see our email and password. So that means we are able to send information from our front end to our back end. Okay, yeah. So if you like this video, man, just subscribe to this channel, drop a like button, man, drop a comment, man, you know, support your boy, you know, and as we continue to create more and more videos. Thank you so much. I'll see you later.